Okay, so 24/7 Wall Street says most Americans would fail a test on gun law knowledge. Well, let's just see about that. Uh, I do have it skipped ahead to the actual questions. Question: Public transport. Can you legally carry a firearm on public transportation? Maybe. It depends on the transportation. Amtrak, no. Aircraft, no. City buses, yes. School buses, regardless of the reason you're writing, no. There's a bunch of other answers. Uh, Answer, maybe. The answer to this question depends on the state, yes, and the public transportation system. For example, Chicago prohibits firearms on any public transport method, and the same goes for all of Amtrak's train lines. Well, um, Chicago prohibits firearms on any public transportation method. That means taxis too. I don't think they understood the question that they asked, but let's move on. Question 21. Active duty exemption. Are active duty members exempt from any gun laws that apply to civilians? No. Answer: no. If a military member is off duty, they are off duty section. They are required to follow all civilian gun laws while on duty section. Service members must adhere to military regulations regarding firearms. Either way, there are regulations that said members must follow. Also, the military has a few rules of its own, separate from the civilian laws. Question 21. Misdemeanors. Can somebody be denied gun ownership if they have a misdemeanor conviction? In some cases, yes. Answer: yes and no. It's complicated. Uh, Typically, if you've been convicted of a misdemeanor for domestic violence, you would be prohibited from owning a firearm. No, not typically. In all cases, that is federal law. In some states, the state restrictions apply to anyone who has been convicted of repeated DUIs and stalking. That's a state by state thing, and I can't tell you. However, in other cases and states, loopholes exist, and somebody with a misdemeanor can own a firearm. Check your state's laws to learn more. Also, in some states, drug convictions, even if they're misdemeanor and non-violent, can be a prohibition. California used to be that way. Uh, Question: Machine guns. Are you able to legally own a machine gun in the United States? I'm going to say the answer is yes. Um, it is highly restrictive. I can't, but 99% of the people out there could get the Class 3 license or higher, by the way. I think the highest is Class 7, which is literally anything you want. Um, but let's move on. Let's just see what they say. Answer: in strict cases. The fuck is that? For the most part, any machine gun manufactured before 19 May 1986 can legally be owned in the United States per National Firearms Act. Owning these weapons would require ATF regulations, an extensive background check, and a $200 tax payment. Machine guns manufactured after this date are prohibited from civilian ownership. Then why are people still manufacturing them? Um, I, this is not a real answer. It's a, a play answer. All right. So, yes, um, automatic weapons manufactured after 19 May 1986 do exist, and they are highly restrictive. And they were before. Gun manufacturers and crime. Can a gun manufacturer be sued if the manufactured weapon is used in a crime? Yes. Answer: no, with exceptions. Well, okay. So explain to me why Maryland just passed. Was it Maryland? Just passed a state law that prohibits gun makers from being sued in their state. I'd love to hear an answer. This has long been a heated issue with many critics of guns saying that manufacturers should be held responsible for certain crimes, but the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, PLCCA, is absolutely worthless because it is not being enforced. So, what do you want me to say? Protects firearms manufacturers and dealers against lawsuit. However, there are exceptions. In the case of Sandy Hook shooting, families of the victims successfully won a lawsuit against Remington Firearms with the argument that the company's deceptive marketing tactics played a role in the shooting, and we all know that that's bullshit. It had nothing to do with it. He murdered his mother to take her gun. What do you want me to say? Okay, moving on. Question: felonies and firearms. Can somebody who has previously been convicted of a felony own and or carry a firearm? Yes, but there are a bunch of uh, loops you have to go to. Uh, and I'm not exactly the expert in this. If you are currently under court supervision, the answer is big fat no. Answer: no. Well, okay, that's a simple answer. This is a pretty easy one. Federal law has been in place for a while. It has been for a long time. Right? It's coming up on 100 years, indicating that anyone convicted of a felony in the past, regardless of the crime, is prohibited from owning a firearm. There are cases in which felons can have their gun ownership rights restored, but doing so requires significant legal work, and success varies by state by state. Well, one of my cousins back in California just had his gun rights restored not just, about 5 years ago. And California is by far the most restrictive in this regard. So, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, moving on. Ammunition sales. Do you need to have a federal firearms license to sell ammunition legally? Yes. No. Federal law does not currently mandate a license to sell standard ammunition to the public. However, any seller is responsible for ensuring that the potential buyer is not restricted from owning firearms. So the answer is actually yes. Also, states like California mandate that a background check can be undertaken for ammunition sales, purchases. Oh, that's why Dad does that. Okay. 15 state lines. Can you legally take a firearm across state lines? All right, this is going to be a contentious answer with some people. The answer is yes, but in order to legally transport your firearm across state lines, you have to send it from an FFL holder in the state you're coming from to an FFL holder in the state you're going to. Then go through a background check, and if you're going back again, like if I, when I came from Colorado to California and back again, it was 2017, I think it was. I was legally required to do that. I didn't, but okay. I would have had to send it from the gun store in Colorado to the gun store in California and then back again with all of those fees, which I just ignored. Answer: yes. When it comes to questions about gun laws in California that Americans don't know, this is a question we see most frequently answered incorrectly. Under Firearm Owner Protection Act, a sanctimonious name if ever there was one, an individual can transport a firearm across state lines if used for lawful purposes and in a locked container. That is not what it says. But anyone crossing state lines must be familiar with the laws of any state they enter, as individual state laws vary, especially around reciprocity for concealed carry permits. Actually, FOPA might say that. Subsequent law does not. I'm pretty sure it was a Clinton era law. Question. Guns on school campuses. Can guns be carried on college campuses? No. Answer, yes, in some states. Okay, that's a federal law, but sure, okay. The short answer to this question is yes, especially in places like Texas where guns can legally be carried openly without a permit. However, the law gets significantly tighter in states like California, where firearms are strictly prohibited on college campuses unless carried by members of law enforcement. It's a violation of federal law, so I'm not sure where they get this yes from. Are there any limits on magazine capacity? Not at this time, no. Yes, in certain states. Okay. All right. No, that's true. That's true. Yes, in certain states, no under federal law. As it currently stands, 14 states and Washington, D.C. have enabled magazine capacity restrictions. In many states, the maximum allowed capacity is between 10 and 20 rounds. For example, California, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and Vermont all limit magazines to 10 rounds, while Vermont also extends this rule to handguns to just 15 rounds. Okay. Yes, in certain states. I should have gotten that one perfect. Bump stocks are frequently in the news. Are they legal? Currently, yes. Barely. Answer, no. Well, okay, so this must be out of date or something. While bump stocks are still found in the wild, they have been federally banned since 2018. Yeah, that was Donnie. The popularity of this weapon enhancement enables semi-automatic rifles to fire rapidly. You know what? That's true. It's not a machine gun, but they do fire really quickly. And its use has been under microscope after being used in several mass shootings in recent years. It hasn't been used in recent years, but more importantly, is the Supreme Court, I believe it was, just struck down the bump stock ban, and it has not been renewed as yet. Okay, this is one that's going to be contentious. 11 gun shows. Can you purchase a firearm at a gun show without requiring a background check? No, this is known as the a gun show loophole, and no, you still have to go through a background check at a gun show. The seller may not be the one doing the background check. And they may have to take it to somebody to do it. And that's part of every gun show. There is also a person-to-person transfer, which I'm not sure what the status of that is at this time, where you meet somebody on Craigslist or find somebody on Craigslist and then meet them in the Walmart parking lot. Some states that's illegal. But no, there is no gun show loophole. It does not exist. Answer. Oh, they got this one right. Not really, per federal law. Anyone with federal firearms license, such as a gun store or other licensee who might sell at a gun show, must perform a background check on any buyer and keep detailed records about the sale. In Florida, this isn't necessarily true, as you can purchase a firearm at a gun show without any background check due to a loophole known as the gun show loophole. It doesn't exist per federal law. This is stupid. I shouldn't have to say that. Ammunition restrictions. Are there any restrictions on the type of ammunition a single buyer can purchase? No. Yes. Depending on the state. California has banned the 50 cal because supposedly you can shoot down planes with it, but there's never been a recorded case of a plane being shot down with a 50 caliber except by another aircraft. It's never happened. There are a couple other ammunition restrictions on a state by state basis. Most of those are related to hunting. Uh, Answer yes. A buyer in the United States cannot purchase or own armor piercing ammunition due to a federal ban. Okay, I thought that ban was lifted, so I'm going to take that hit. Federal law also bans handgun ammunition from being sold to anyone under 21 years of age. There are also state limitations based on magazine capacity, and locations like California require a background check on most ammunition purchases. Suppressors. Can somebody, when not in law enforcement or the military, use a silencer or gun suppressor? Yes, that is a class 3 item. Yes, the short answer is yes. 42 states allow suppressors. Okay, so 8 states just don't allow them to be used in conjunction with private firearms. However, to do so, you must register under National Firearms Act, federal law, pay a $200 tax, and submit to even more extensive background check. I was not aware it was more extensive, but okay, I'll take that. DIY guns. Are you legally allowed to make your firearms? As of this moment, the answer is yes. This is a tough question. The guidelines vary, but coming under increasing scrutiny as 3D printing becomes more popular, the technology allows people to manufacture guns that can be passed through metal detectors. Stop. Everything these people are going to say from here on out is a lie. These guns cannot make it through metal detectors. All right? So just stop. Nothing they say can be believed at this point, which many people worry will become a concern for public safety. However, making firearms for personal use is legal if the individual complies with federal laws. Any gun manufactured privately must be legally registered with a serial number. That's manufactured. No, that's not true. Any gun manufactured privately must be legally registered with a serial number, unless they're referring to the new ATF rule, which is not a law. No. Seven. Assault weapons. Are assault weapons banned nationwide? Now, the answer is yes. They were banned under National Firearms Act. They're going to say no because they're using an unreal definition of assault weapon. 2 plus 1 does not equal 4. All right? 1 plus 1 does not equal 4. So 1 plus 0, sure as shit, doesn't equal 4. All right? Answer no. The question often confuses Americans, as Bill Clinton rewrote the definition of assault weapon. Actually, Josh Sugarman did. Bill Clinton just carried it. Had previously enacted a 10-year ban on assault weapons. 10-year sunset clause was the only reason why NRA got behind it. However, this ban expired in 2004, which allowed states like California, New York, and Connecticut to enact their own restrictions on assault weapons. That being said, it is definitely possible to acquire assault weapons. No, it is not. It's a class 3 item. If you want to go through all that, then go ahead. Waiting period. Is there currently federal waiting period to purchase and own a firearm? No. Okay, I want to point this out. What is the current federal waiting period to purchase and own a firearm? None. Right? Answer varies by state. No, it doesn't. Federal law is the same in all 50 territories, 50 states, 7 territories, and 8 possessions, I think it is. In terms of federal law, you don't have to worry about a waiting period. Oh, well, thanks. But the laws can get a little more complicated when you look state by state. California um, has one. New York has one. It's known as the New York ban because they just sit on a desk and nobody ever does it because of the waiting period. There's a few others. New Jersey's horrendous. In fact, that's the reason why, under my proposal, yes, there is a waiting period. And if the state dawdles, there's a conditional exemption or conditional release. And if they keep dawdling, it becomes an unconditional release. And they can't do anything about it until you have committed a crime, and a crime related to the gun. Oh, yeah. Yeah, fuck you, New York. Um, Florida has a 3-day waiting period, so, and for handguns, not all firearms. Okay. Can you legally carry a firearm in every state? Um, yes and no. Yes, with restrictions. Each state allows people to carry firearms under certain conditions. Okay. Um, Here in Nevada, you, well, I have a concealed carry permit because I assume that that's the rule, the law here. Um, California, you have to have a concealed carry permit to carry concealed or open. And you're not, well, you're to carry concealed, you can only carry concealed. Here in Nevada, you can carry open, you can open carry. I have a concealed carry permit because I thought I just assumed that that was the rule. And, I should look into that. Anyone doing so needs a permit, like a concealed carry permit. No, that's not the law in all states. Um, it restricts how a weapon can be carried or displayed on one's person. For example, you can open carry without a permit in Texas, while New York and Florida have stricter rules. Florida has stricter rules. Good to know. Question: buying more than one gun. If you walk into a gun store, how many guns can one person purchase at a time? Certain states have limits. There is no federal. Answer: no restrictions. Federal law. See, that's what they keep doing. They keep swapping out federal for state whenever it's convenient. Federal law does not directly prohibit or restrict the number of firearms a single individual can purchase at one time. However, there's a major caveat. If you were to buy several guns at once, shop you purchase from would have to report the sale to the ATF. That's true. Additionally, states like California do restrict handgun buyers to single gun or rifle purchase per month. What? One per month? So your purchasing power might depend on where you live. Private sales. Do you need to complete a background check if you are selling a gun privately? Yes. Does it happen all the time anyway? Yes. Answer: no. Interesting enough, no federal law prohibits or restricts private firearms sales without a background check being completed. Okay, pause. Actually, that is black letter law. Here's the between the lines. If you sell a firearm privately without a background check, ATF will absolutely call that a straw purchase and you will be in prison. Even if the gun is stolen from the new buyer, all right, the new owner, and they report it stolen, if they report it stolen, you may not go to prison. But the ATF decides they want to come after you, they'll put you in prison. And they will call it a straw purchase each and every time. And for the record, yes, straw purchases are illegal. Um, Online shopping, can you purchase a gun or firearm online and ship it to your home? No. Um, you can purchase a firearm online, have it shipped to a dealer who will do a background check and then release it to you. Oh, they got this one right. Anytime a firearm is purchased online, it must be shipped to a licensed firearm dealer or gun store where a background check can be completed. Pending background check's approval, a firearms transfer can occur to the intended buyer. Only antique firearm manufactured before 1899 can be shipped to your home. Pause. No, that's actually incorrect. Loose powder firearms, regardless of when they were manufactured, can be shipped to your home without a background check or anything else. Those are also black powder. Um, I think all but three that were ever developed were black powder firearms, and this is the Old West, Western style revolver, muzzle loaders. There's a few breech loaders, not a lot. So, I mean, black powder revolver. Okay. So, yes, those can be. That is an exemption. That would not exist under Dataslav, believe it or not. One, age limits. How old must you be to purchase a handgun in the United States? Right now, the rule is 21 because they changed the rule a couple of years ago. Answer 21 in the United States federal law states that a minimum age of 21 to purchase a handgun. Strangely, same law allows 18-year-old to buy both a rifle and a shotgun. So gun advocates hope change the law. So gun advocates hope change the law. So, oh my God. So it's the same for everything. Yeah, it should be 18. In fact, the law might be changing sooner than we think. So yeah, these guys, well, it's 24/7 Wall Street. I knew that they had a bias. Um, uh, on 30 January 2025, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit ruled that a federal ban on selling guns to people under age 21 years old was unconstitutional. Um, okay, that caught me slightly off guard. Oh, damn. Uh, okay. This was supposed to be in private mode. Damn. Zanti? Hello? Wasp? Hello? I'm getting better. Wasp. All right. So, damn. That's embarrassing. How long have I been standing here with my dick hanging in the wind? Um, Stop screen. Well, since it's already hanging in the wind, I might as well leave it there. Okay, muzzleloaders.com. Black powder revolver pistols. Oof. $269, $270, $280. Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, Piata New Army, Navy Yank, Pepper Box. That's a historically and scientifically relevant Navy Yank Sheriff, Navy Yank Black. Um, I think this is what I have. And this was actually shipped to Papa Carey's place in California legally. Um so yeah. All right, this, and I want to emphasize that this is a cap and ball gun, right? Let's expand this a little bit. See this little thing here that I'm circling? That is a nipple for a cap. You actually load it at the front. This is a ramrod, just like the ramrod on a muzzle loader, because it's a muzzle loader. It really is. This here is actually a pin that's used to hold the gun together, making disassembly and loading carrying multiple mags just kind of impossible. All right, here's a even bigger picture. There's the nipple. Right, there's the tip of the ramrod. So yeah, that can legally be shipped by US mail, of all things, because under federal law, it is not a firearm. All right, so I hope this has been helpful to some of you. I'm sorry I ignored my chat because I wasn't supposed to have one. That's embarrassing. Lol. Okay. In the meantime, keep calm and mandatory carry on.